is shining a light on advancing and empowering LGBTQIA+ individuals in the local government space. Joining us for today's Member Spotlight is County Administrator of Saline County, Kansas, and ICMA credentialed manager, Phillip Smith-Haynes. In addition to his duties as county administrator, Phil is committed to advancing equity work through writing articles on LGBTQIA+ issues and serving on ICMA's inaugural equity cohort. Thanks for stopping by, Phil.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Love to have you, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us. And it's important to note that I only covered just a few of the things you're involved in. So, to give the audience a better idea of your background, what has been the highlight of your career so far?
Oh gosh, start with the hard question first.
Yeah.
I would say the great thing about a career in local government management is there's a new highlight every week. Lately, one of the awesome opportunities that I never thought I would have in my career is dealing with all of the federal money that's been flowing to local governments through the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan Act, and really being able to create some structural change in our communities through strategically deploying those resources. Um, when we were rolling out our CARES funding in December of 2020, I said, this is the first time in 25 years in this career that I've ever had to call somebody up and say, listen, I need you to spend more money and I need you to spend it faster. I feel like most of my career I've been the guy with the budget cut axe. And so this is a whole new arena for me. Um, but you asked about, highlights for the whole career. And I'm not sure it's a highlight, but one of the most memorable experiences that I've had along the way is sitting in a conference room trying to engage with a group of protesters as they were marching around the conference table chanting at me for an hour and 15 minutes. So that was a unique experience that I'm sure none of my friends in the private sector have ever had. So,
Phil, as a member of this cohort, what do you credit as being one of the most difficult challenges and accomplishments that the ICMA Equity Officer cohort has experienced in their work?
mm, yeah, great question. I would say the difficult challenge that the cohort worked through was just supporting each other, um, being a sounding board for other members of the cohort. The work, it's sort of a hackneyed phrase, I guess, at this point, but the work is very personal. Equity work is something that I think folks come to based on their own understanding of their experiences, and it's very difficult to separate your experiences from your professional work in advancing equity in the organization or the community, oftentimes. And so um, that was really a takeaway for me personally from participating in the cohort. I think as city county management, we think about how difficult our road that we hoe is in terms of the personal impact on our lives and our families of being such public figures, being in the media, and so forth. But it really gave me a new appreciation for the struggles of other professionals within our organizations, and chief equity officers in particular, because oftentimes they are members of historically oppressed communities. And so the work is not just something that they got a degree in, it's something that they came to through a very personal route, and hearing about their experiences trying to move equity forward in their organizations while simultaneously not falling apart because of personal experiences that they were having, the ways they were being attacked. I think, like I said, that gave me a really new appreciation.
And what would you consider a an accomplishment of the cohort as well?
Oh gosh, probably the largest accomplishment of the cohort when I was part of it was putting on the Equity Summit that ICMA hosted, and I think all of the cohort members, including myself, had some role in the Equity Summit. I know that's coming up again this year. They're doing the second annual, and so I'm happy to see that. Another thing that we were working on quite extensively was the equity handbook and the toolkit. So trying to make sure that those resources were broadly available to all communities with ICMA managers, whether they have a chief equity officer or not. They all do or should have somebody who's advancing the work, whether they have a title or not. And so, having that resource, I think that's a valuable contribution that the cohort is making as well.
What would you say to LGBTQIA plus individuals who may be interested in pursuing a career in local government management?
Oh, well, of course, I'd say it's the best career ever. So they should definitely do it. It's,
Yes.
yeah. Um, so I've always said, part of my own identity is not wanting to be like everyone else. Um, and one of the great traits of this profession, this career path, is you're unique in your community. And I always say every day in this profession is something new and different. I always know what I plan to do when I show up at 8 a.m. I never know what I'm going to do when I show up at 8 a.m. because it's usually radically different than what's on my schedule.
Phil, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to speak with me today. Your experiences, very interesting experiences, might I add, and accomplishments are an inspiration to anyone looking to pursue this career, and to LGBTQIA folks out there who need that representation and someone to look to who is broken through the glass ceiling and has really made a path for themselves. So I appreciate you so much for carrying the torch for equity and for the profession. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you.